Sarah McBride thought she had Marco Rubio cornered. The plan was simple: read Trump's comments about NATO, demand a yes or no answer, and force Rubio into a public split with the president. Instead, Rubio turned the entire hearing around. As McBride pressed him over NATO, Rubio fired back with a question of his own. "Why are you asking me if I can't answer?" Then he shifted the conversation to something the media rarely talks about: whether America's allies are actually acting like allies. By the end, this wasn't a debate about a quote anymore. It became a clash over NATO, American power, and whether the United States should keep carrying the burden while other countries call the shots. Representative Sarah McBride thought she had Marco Rubio boxed in. The strategy was simple: quote President Trump's comments about NATO, demand a yes or no answer, and force Rubio into choosing between defending the president or contradicting him in public. But Rubio wasn't interested in playing that game. McBride repeatedly pointed to Trump's statements that America had never got anything from NATO and pressed Rubio to say whether he agreed. Instead of giving the answer she wanted, Rubio argued that the real issue wasn't a single quote, it was whether NATO allies are actually supporting American priorities and carrying their fair share of the burden. That immediately shifted the entire hearing. McBride pushed back hard. She reminded Rubio that Article 5, the collective defense clause at the heart of NATO, was only invoked once in the alliance's history, and it was invoked for the United States after the September 11 attacks. She noted that thousands of Allied troops fought alongside American forces in the years that followed. Her argument was straightforward. America has benefited enormously from NATO, and suggesting otherwise ignores the facts. But Rubio wasn't backing down. He acknowledged the alliance's value while arguing that NATO still needs major reforms. According to Rubio, the Trump administration's position isn't about abandoning allies. It's about ensuring America's allies act like true partners, rather than relying on the United States to carry most of the responsibilities. Then the conversation turned to Greenland. McBride challenged Trump's comments, suggesting that ownership would make Greenland easier to defend, arguing that NATO's collective security framework already provides protection. Rubio responded that strategic control naturally makes defense easier, and pointed out that the administration was actively working with Denmark and Greenland on security and missile defense cooperation. By the end, the exchange had become much bigger than NATO. It was really a debate over America's role in the world. McBride argued that alliances are one of America's greatest strengths, and that the United States benefits when it stands firmly with its partners. Rubio argued that alliances only work when responsibilities are shared, and that America's leaders have a duty to put American interests first. Neither side gave an inch. And that's exactly why this confrontation became one of the most talked about foreign policy exchanges of the hearing. Like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more political breakdowns that cut through the headlines and explain what's really happening.